Hello everyone. Once again, this time good afternoon and assalamu alaikum. Uh, Welcome back to lecture 3 or section 3 or part 3 of chapter 2, culture. In this lecture, we will focus, we will discuss, I will address the elements of culture. So whenever we are talking about culture, like culture in Bangladesh, culture in India, culture in America, or European culture or Western culture, every single culture, whenever we are talking about culture, they have their own elements. So let me now address what we mean by elements of culture. Today we will address on elements of culture. What do we mean by elements? Let's say, for example, whenever you are making a cake, whenever you are making a birthday cake, whenever you are cooking a food, item of food, definitely there are some ingredients you have to make a particular type of cake or to make a particular type of food. Whatever the type of food it is. So for food, for cake, whenever we are talking about ingredients, and whenever we are saying culture, the culture, every single culture, they have their some elements. Doesn't matter it's Indian culture, doesn't matter it's Bangladeshi culture, doesn't matter it is European culture, or doesn't matter it is American culture. Some elements makes a culture, as ingredients and elements make a certain type of food. So what are the elements of culture? The elements of culture are language, norms, sanction, and values. I repeat, language is an element of culture, norms is another element of culture, sanction is another element of culture, and finally values. It makes a culture. So what is language? Very simple. Is nothing, is all about way of communication. Whatever you have in your mind, if you want to express, if you want to say, how you are going to say, how you are going to express the thinking that you have in your mind, it is language that through you express, I express, we express the thinking that we have in our mind. So basically, what is language? The way you want to see the world, the way you want to explain the world. If you do not have any language, and every culture, they have their own language. Like for Bangladesh, we have our own language, Bangla. British culture, they have their language, English. So what is language? It's a way of communication. It is language that help us to express the thinking that we have. So whenever we are talking about language, whenever we are talking about communication, whenever we are talking about expressions, if you do not have a language, how we are going to express? Maybe you will show some gesture, body language. So that's always, that is also language. End of the day, it is language, whether it is verbal or non-verbal, whether you are speaking, saying, or you are using gestures. So that is one element of culture. It is language that help us to express our opinion, our thinking, whatever you have in your mind or in your brain, you want to express, you have to have a language. Doesn't matter whether you express verbally or non-verbally. So language as an element. The first one, though we said 4 elements, language is the one. Language is the first one. We say in sociology, in other way, language is the way of communication. In other way, language is the elements of culture. After language, we do talk about, we have another elements of culture, and that is norm or norms. What is norms? In every society, in every culture, the people belong to a particular society or a country or a community, or even in your family. There are some norms. What is norms? Whenever you do see me, whenever you do meet me, for example, you do tell me, you do say me, Assalamu alaikum, hello sir, how are you? Why do you say that? Whenever I do see my teacher, I do see my faculty, whenever I do see my senior brothers, senior citizens, I do say Assalamu alaikum and everything. Or somehow we ask, how is everything? How is your life? This and that. Why do you do it? Why do you give me salam? Why do you talk to me? Why do you ask me, how are you and how is doing everything? How is going everything? How is life? And etc. etc. Look, it is sort of norms. So what is norms? To respect the seniors, to respect your faculty, for example, we do respect by saying, by greetings, by asking, how is life, how is everything, how are you, and etc. etc. Because this is norms of the society. This is norms of our culture. So what is norms? Norms is nothing other than some standard established practice of the society you belong to, that we follow. As I said in my first video, part 1, whenever I am coming in the class, I do make sure I am looking decent. I can't come in the class to take my class with any type of dress. Look, so the dress code. Whenever I am in the class, whenever I am a faculty, whenever I am coming in the class to take the class, I need to care. I need to take care of myself. Do I look decent? What do I mean by decent? It is something like standard, established practice. It's norms. So these norms, it could be both formal and informal. There are some norms in the society that is written. We have something as law. So whenever we are talking about law, whenever we are talking about some written somethings, we said that is formal norms. For example, the constitutions of Bangladesh, it's a norms. It's a formal norms. For what? How the country will run, how the decisions will be made, etc. 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 Formal norms, written. Once you violate, the law will explain. The law will say, if you violate Constitution, the Constitution itself will decide what type of punishment you are going to have. Formal norms. You are a student of BRAC or BRAC University. Once you're in the class, once you're in the exam hall, there are some written rules on the top page of the script. For example, like you are not allowed to bring mobile. It is written. Formal norms. So what is informal norms? Other than formal norms, we do follow some informal norms. That is not written. That is not visible. Still and yet we do follow informal norms. So after norms, the third element of a culture is sanction. So what is sanction? Sanction is once again a system, a process, a procedure of a culture, of a country, of a society that will make sure your punishment or reward for your behavior, for your activities. I repeat, sanction is a system that ensures, that makes sure the reward and punishment for your activities. So once again, look, if I do commit a crime, I have to be punished. It's a sanction. If I do violate something, I have to be punished. It's a sanction. As well as if I do some good jobs, it could be anything. For example, if we score 4 out of 4, end of your graduation, end of your degree, you will be rewarded. You may get a gold medal. It's a sanction. At the same time, if you cheat in the exam hall, if you violate the rules that you are supposed to follow in the exam hall, for example, you are using mobile, you are using a device, you are adopting an unfair means, you will be punished. Punishment. So violation, if you violate, then you will be punished. If you do some positive things, good works, you will be rewarded. That is systems. If you commit a crime, you will be punished. Sanction. That is third elements of a culture. The last elements of a culture, that is values. What is value or values? Values is something that all about collective understanding, collective decisions. Whenever we are talking about a country, whenever we are in a society, let's say, for example, our class. Whenever we are in a class, if we take, for an example, the class as a society, whenever we do enter into the class, we do follow some rules. And you can't do anything. I can't do whatever I want to do in my class. Let's say, for example, some of us, we smoke. We do smoke outside the class. Whenever we are getting into the class, we are not smoking. Even if someone smokes in the class, rest of the people, we all will decide it's a bad thing. Look, values of the class. So what is values? It's a collective understanding that decide, that explains, that says, this is good, this is bad. This is proper, this is improper. This should be, this should not be. Decided collectively. So smoking in the class is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's not a good habit. Listening music in the class is not a good thing. Even if someone listen music, even if someone smoke in the class, for example, rest of the people will say, this is something you are doing very bad. Who said smoking in the class is very bad? By the society, collectively. That's all about elements of culture. Today, I'll finish here. The next part of my lecture will be aspects of variation of culture. That will be the last part, last section of this chapter. And you will know the details of all those things. You are welcome even to ask the elements of culture, development of culture, whatever you have, whatever the question you have in your mind, you are welcome to ask me when I will give you the same lecture in my class, or you can get it from my slide. So for today, Allah Hafiz. See you soon for my part 4 of chapter 2 and for last part of chapter 2. And till then, Allah Hafiz. And I will say see you once again